morning, MouseHunt. Welcome to Feedback Friday for March the 4th, 2016. How's everybody in the chat room doing today? People are rocking out to the music. Good morning. Hello in the chat. Hello back at you. Good morning to you, Tim, Ryan. Everyone's saying hello. Good morning. Hello. Well, today, birthday event launched yesterday. We have a few things we'll go over. We'll preview what we're working on next, as if it's too early to even think about that. But we're working on more things to come after the birthday. Feedback questions for hunters in the chat, and if you're watching this recorded, you can let us know on the tavern section as well, and we'll just kind of be asking about the birthday event in general, and then finally, as we always do or usually do, ending with a trivia question, and Larry will have rewards. So, before we get to the birthday, I'll start off with, well, what are we working on to come next after the birthday? Even though the birthday just started, we can think about what's coming later on this month and the months to follow that. The spring egg hunt will be the next kind of big thing to come out. We've been kind of talking a little bit about it on previous Feedback Fridays. And this year, sort of the big change is that it will not involve the chocolate factory this year. So if you took part in the spring egg hunt last year, you'll no doubt remember, or probably remember, the chocolate factory. That's gone. Hunters will no longer need to recalibrate an excavator before being able to find bonus eggs. So you'll be able to jump right into the hunt for the various bonus eggs throughout the kingdom. That said, you will still be able to hunt down event mice, and they will be in various major towns and hunting hubs throughout the kingdom where they will drop excavator charge charms, and Marshmallow Monterey will also be involved. You'll be able to collect it in those areas to hunt for the event mice to get excavator charge charms. That way, if you want to charge up your excavator. However, if you just want to get bonus eggs, no need to recalibrate. You just jump straight into collecting bonus eggs. And it seems like that is to the praise of hunters in the chat room. That was sort of the feedback we had last year, was that the fun part's the bonus eggs, and so we wanted to really try to focus on the fun part of the event, the bonus eggs, and not so much the less fun part of the event. Question from the chat, will you be able to use Gouda for the event? Well, it's kind of a global event, really, for the spring egg hunt. Coming up next is you find eggs throughout the kingdom. So any cheese that you would use in other locations, you'll be using everything from cheddar, if you want, to limelight, to rumble cheese, to pretty well a lot of the cheese in the game will attract mice that drop mice, attract mice who drop eggs. I have a couple of the new eggs that will be coming in the spring egg hunt. Right now, I think we have plans to add 18 new eggs for the spring egg hunt, which will be coming up later after the birthday has come to an end. And I think if you watched Feedback Friday a couple weeks ago, I think Jacob may have drawn this egg live. People can take a guess at what egg that might be. Another egg. I don't believe Jacob drew this one live either. We got guesses coming in the chat from hunters about what sort of eggs these could be from. Similarly, a hunter in the chat's thoroughly confused, probably by that gross-looking egg that I showed last. You're an avid grocery store shopper, but you'll notice, when you go to get some eggs, you usually open up the carton and check it out, right? And you might be thinking, well, what are these people doing? Checking out the eggs. And I mean, more rational people might say they want to make sure one of them's not broken. No. They're looking for the cartons with the extra delicious eggs. To break your fast in the morning. So that's the spring egg hunt. That'll be coming up after the birthday event, a little bit later, around the time that spring starts, which the first day of spring is a date that I currently don't know, but you could Google to find out. I believe it's in March, so we'll be aiming to launch that around the time spring starts. The other little project we've been working on, and we've sort of hinted at this and spoke about it, actually not a hint, downright spoke about it on previous Feedback Fridays, is the Feroma Rift. So looking even further ahead, after the spring egg hunt, we're planning the Feroma Rift to be the next kind of big release to come out. It's been really in its early sort of prototyping phases. It's still a little bit too early to share too many details. The art's just kind of started. I think there's one thing drawn so far. And we'll be kind of playing through our basic prototype a little bit, firming things up and seeing the direction we want to take it in. And by of course, as we kind of come along, we'll keep hunters in the loop from Feedback Friday. And some hunters in the chat there definitely agreed that is not an egg you want to have for breakfast, or that's past its expiration date. I don't know. I think the black ooze look delicious. I don't know. Looking even further ahead, so far ahead that it may not even have a date, may not even be this year. Who knows how it'll plan out? We don't even really have any sort of timeline whatsoever, but we are thinking about a Varmint Valley expansion. And we've just sort of started organizing our ideas and our plans for a rather massive Varmint Valley expansion. Now, the goal of this expansion would be to flesh out the Varmint Valley region and have the law power type and the story of that region become a more integral part in the game. So it'll feel more sort of connected to everything else. It'll lead to other things. It'll unlock equipment and things like that may be useful outside of just the area that you obtained it in as well. So that's very in its kind of early stages, but I want to kind of mention it during Feedback Friday because by all means, if you have Varmint Valley or law-related ideas, now's the time to post in the ideas and suggestions forums. It's often where we look for a little bit of inspiration, and we kind of browse that forum from time to time. Often during my lunch break, that'll be my reading forum of choice, and it's not too often that verbatim an idea from the forum goes straight into the game, especially when it's something larger, but we definitely pull a lot of inspiration, and sometimes we take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, add it to a couple ideas that we have around the office as well, and that kind of molds everything together. More related most recently, I think, was the Fungal Cavern. That was a thread in the ideas and suggestions forum. There's a knock on the door. Hello. Oh, hi there. Oh, no problem. The most recent being the Fungal Cavern started as a thread on the forums as well, and although it wasn't verbatim from what came in from the forums, definitely a lot of inspiration. We pulled a lot of the themes and some of the characters and stuff, and it kind of got the creative juices flowing of everybody at the office to kind of think along that lines. From the chat, there's questions about a rank for the Feroma Rift. I believe it will be one higher rank than the Whisker Woods Rift is. So if memory serves me correctly, Whisker Woods is a Duke. So this will be a Grand Duke area, which I believe will be the first Grand Duke area in the game if my MouseHunt trivia holds up. My trivial knowledge here. Yes, Whisker Woods is Duke Duchess, so it'll be a Grand Duke Duchess area. The first one of its type in the game will be the highest ranking area in the entire game, which means that the points in the gold for the mice there will be a little notch higher than they would be in an area that requires Duke Duchess. Next is feedback questions. So, returning to the presents, as we looked ahead a little bit of what we're working on coming up next. Returning to the present time is, of course, the birthday launched yesterday, much to the excitement of sugar-induced hunters throughout the kingdom, as hundreds of cupcakes have been shipped. And just general feedback question: what are your thoughts? How are you enjoying the 8th birthday event so far? What are your thoughts? How's everybody doing? Any questions about the birthday event as well? Hunter Stephen wants green cupcakes. Actually, there was a bit of an issue that we fixed this morning where daily loyalty chests are supposed to hand out green and rainbow cupcakes, but that was not working correctly. And I noticed this morning because I was mildly upset when I opened up my daily loyalty chest and I didn't see any tasty cupcakes. So that has been fixed. Daily loyalty chests as of about 2 hours ago, opening them up, they will have cupcakes. And today's trivia reward will be green cupcakes as well. So if you missed out on your daily loyalty chest, make sure you click the reward link. And there will be some green cupcakes coming in a little bit. Some love for the Chrome Fat Cat trap skin. That is a pretty cute trap skin. The Year 8 reward could be better. This feedback from the chat. I think it's pretty tasty. There's some glowing Gruyere. There's a chance of getting Shuffler cubes. I believe you do get lantern oil every time you ship one as well. The Cupcake Colby Potion drop is too low. We actually increased it from last year. Now keep an eye open out too if you have friends playing that. Cupcake Colby Potions, I believe, are the gift of the day today. So you can definitely ask your friends to send you some Cupcake Colby Potions to stock up really quickly today. And if you haven't already, check out your King's Calibrator where you can increase the limit of, or your claim limit for gifts of how many gifts you can send and receive from friends. And that will help you stock up on Cupcake Colby Potions. But it's higher than it was last year. We increased it, I think, by 10%. Bubbles' luck is really low. It is a sort of power first trap. Its power is higher than its luck. It is a free trap as well for doing the event, so it's nothing too groundbreaking. And we've sort of talked about on previous Feedback Fridays as well, event trap rewards, or when you do an event and you're in a trap, they'll never be the best in game trap, because we've sort of reached a point where a lot of those traps require a lot of time, effort, and resources to acquire, and it's sort of longer than most events last for, so it'll probably just never be the case. The cupcakes themselves, some hunters having trouble getting cupcakes. A good tip, and it's kind of, this tip is in the news post, although it would be nice we could maybe try to add it to the HUD to make it more abundantly noticeable and more obvious, is that having 3 cupcake orders on the go is the best way to maximize your encounter rate for cupcake dropping mice. So there's event mice that you only attract event mice at the location. However, when you have an order on the go, mice that are themed for that year of order are added to the encounter pool. So when you add 3 of them, it adds lots of the mice to the encounter pool. Now, the non-event mice are the mice that drop cupcakes the most often, especially when you get up to year 5, 6, 7, 8. Those mice, a lot of them drop a cupcake every single time that you capture them. So you want to try to maximize how often you're encountering those mice. So you want to make sure that you always have cupcake orders on the go so that you have the chance of attracting those mice. So I'm suggesting the ability to smash rainbow cupcakes to get one of each color. That might be a pretty powerful upgrade. You may also want to save them as you get up. The rainbow cupcakes are quite hard to come by, so I think you might regret breaking them down by the time you get up to year 7 and 8 and you need 2 of them per order. Are certain mice more likely to drop a rainbow, or is it random? Yeah. The specific mice that drop cupcakes, kind of every mouse has its cupcakes that it will drop. And here, if I can look it up. So it's not entirely random, but it's consistent with the type of mouse you're getting. Like for event mice, the Cupcake Cutie, the Force Fighter Pink, the Cupcake Camo, all have a chance of dropping a rainbow cupcake, but not 100% of the time. However, when you get up to, say, the year 8 orders, there is the Cabin Crumbler, the Gem Morpher, and the Shadow Stalker, although that's definitely a pain to catch. So you would want to focus on the Cabin Crumbler and the Gem Morpher. Drop a rainbow every single time you capture them. So that's a good example of you want to make sure you have those orders on the go to get those mice the possibility of attracting those mice to your trap, and they drop a rainbow cupcake every single time you capture them, which is even better than the event mice. There's a good suggestion about friend gifts in the chat there, about kind of a list of friends to send them in one click. That's sort of been, we experimented that a little bit on mobile, and it's definitely an idea we like to maybe expand on in the future. Make the lucky loot bag more common in year 6, especially with sprinkles. That's a pretty nice reward, so it's pretty rare to get the lucky loot bag, because you even get the golden shield inside of that. Is there any way to increase Cupcake Colby potion drops, was a question from the chat. We did increase it a little bit from last year. It's easier to get Cupcake Colby potions. I believe Super Brie will work better than Gouda. It will attract, I think, El Flamingo and the Para Dancer, and I think they drop Colby potions more often than the other mice. So Super Brie is one way to increase that. You can also send it as gift of the day right now. So if you're looking for Colby potions, definitely check out the gift page today. Get your friends to send you some as well. Question was, do the mice only drop cupcakes in the event area? Yes, you need to be at the birthday party celebration to track down the mice carrying cupcakes. No doubt getting some rodent fur into the frosting, so you may also want to dust them off a little bit before you ship them off for human consumption. Let's hope the health department doesn't come to the birthday party and check out all these cupcakes that are being shipped. Question from the chat, my daily loyalty chest didn't have cupcakes. We fixed that as of 2 hours ago, so your next one will have cupcakes. And stay tuned, we'll be handing out some green cupcakes as well. Question about where in the news post does it say the 3 orders is better than 1? I believe it says something along the lines that when you have an order open, it attracts mice from that year that drop cupcakes the most frequently, something to that effect. So it kind of alludes to it, but we could definitely, hindsight, we could have put that in the HUD or something, because it's kind of a subtle little element to how it works, I guess. Do sprinkles give the same upgrade regardless of which year you dust? No, they don't. You get something unique depending on the order you ship. So it's usually something that's similar to the rewards you get regardless of if you sprinkle it or not, but something a little bit better or an extra quantity of that. Now you'll always get Super Brie, like either Super Brie or Magical String Cheese or Gruyere, depending on the order you ship. So I believe year 8, you get Gruyere. You get 10 pieces of Gruyere when you sprinkle every single time. The Rift, the one that celebrates the Rift, I believe you get Magical String Cheese, 10 pieces every time you ship it. And all the other ones, you get 10 Super Brie every time you sprinkle an order. Now, you also get stuff on top of that. Some of the easier to complete tasks will give you just 1 or 2 more items, whereas year 8, I think it gives you 3 more items. So when you sprinkle it, you get 4 items due to the sprinkle. I believe so anyway. I'm not double checking that. I don't have that right in front of me, but generally speaking, the more difficult to complete orders, you get even more stuff for sprinkling them, but they do take a little bit longer to complete as well. Yes, and I did in the chat there, in the ticker, we put that tip about having 3 orders on the go to try and please help spread the word of a little extra strategical element, because it's actually rather significant when you add all those extra non-event mice to the pool. It increases your chance of encountering a cupcake dropping mouse by almost 20%. So you definitely want to make sure you have all 3 orders on the go. Is it possible to capture the Brimstone Pocket Watch and Strawberry Hot Cakes at the birthday party zone? Yes, it is. A nice little tip for maps as well. Strategy tip here. It's very subtle, but when you go to start an order, or if you click the question mark on the HUD in browser, there are banners for year 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 8. And you'll notice that every banner has 4 mice depicted in the banner. Those are all the mice that can appear on maps. So if you get a mouse on a map and you're not sure which order you need to start, you can check out the banner. So for instance, if you have a ninja mouse on your treasure map for the birthday, you can look at the the banner there, and you notice that the Ninja mouse is in the year 1 banner, and that's a nice little reminder to go, oh hey, that was a year 1 mouse, so you need a year 1 order going to attract the Ninja. Clicking the question mark makes my journal go backwards. That sounds odd. You can get in touch with us to submit a bug report, but through the support section at the top right of the game. That sounds a bit weird that your journal goes backwards. A question about a limited edition collectible, the Soggy Journal. Kudos for hunters for finding that, because we did not announce that at all. That is in the game. There is now a way to obtain that collectible, and we'll leave it to hunters to try and figure out how to get that. My only advice would be to make sure that you complete the birthday adventure, and then you'll be able to obtain that collectible even after the event ends. That's kind of my hint to put any sort of anxiety at ease. As long as you finish the birthday adventure, then at any point in the future you will be able to find that limited edition collectible. But if you do not finish the birthday adventure, you will never be able to find that limited edition collectible, which is why it's a limited edition one. Limited edition. That's a bit of a tongue twister for me. That's interesting. Somebody else having a problem with the question mark. Let me go give this a click and see what happens. All right, so 11:15. Click the question mark. No, nothing's happening. Let me refresh the page and click it. My last thing was a trap check at 11:15. I open up the question mark, close it. Interesting. Yeah, something weird does happen. That is odd. All right. I will let the appropriate people know about that. Do. Wrote that down, we'll check that out. Seems to be affecting Chrome, that is very odd. But that's good. The important part is as soon as we can reproduce a problem, that is the most important step to be able to start to fix it. It's often frustrating when there's a problem and we have no way of reproducing it or making or seeing it happen for ourselves, so there's no way to know how to even start fixing it quite often. That's often a frustration, especially with the Android app, is there will be a very specific problem on a specific version of Android on a specific type of Android phone, and you're like, well, I don't have that piece of hardware running that piece of software, and you can't see it happening. You just, at that point, you're just guessing. And you can sometimes run emulators and stuff to try to reproduce it, but it's like, well, this doesn't happen in the emulator. I need the actual piece of hardware, and that could be an issue. Suggestion for a Bubbles plush collectible. Well, there is a Bubbles collectible. You can get Bubbles bookends from the Crystal Library for all things Bubbles. In the chat, a suggestion to cancel orders and replace with a better one. Well, that would be a little bit overpowered because the orders are random. So when you cancel, if you could cancel them, you could just kind of keep rolling the dice until you get one that you like, which isn't quite in the spirit of being a committed and expert baker. When you make the commitment that you will ship something out for a customer, you've made that commitment. You can't say, I don't like this customer, I'm going to get a different one. So that's it. Towards the end of the event, there will be something to help you cash out all your cupcakes at the end, because they will go stale. There's a shelf life on cupcakes. Question about Force Fighter action figures. We did dramatically reduce how many action figures they dropped. I believe even last year they didn't drop as many. It confused a lot of hunters. They were like, what do I do with all these action figures? It was meant to be a joke, and I don't think a lot of hunters got the joke, so we took the joke out. So now they just occasionally drop one, and it's a little bit of a humorous description on the action figure. Yep, and if you have a whole ton of them left over from years past, you can cash them all out for party charms. But otherwise, it wasn't really an important aspect of the birthday event, was to put the focus on collecting hundreds and hundreds of worthless action figures, or the joke being that they are low-quality, worthless toys. Party charms will show up. From the chat, a question, party charms will show up as the gift of the day, or I believe even as a regular gift. So you can gift party charms. And why settle? Yep, party charms are a permanent gift that your friends can send you. And why settle for party charms when you can arm the extra sweet cupcake base and get extra sweet cupcake charms, which are 8 luck, making them the second highest luck charm that you can trade on the marketplace. I think it's bested only by the ultimate spore charm. So they're a pretty awesome charm. All right, glad somebody in the chat room got and enjoyed the action figure joke. To be candid with you, when I read it, I didn't quite get it. I was like, why are they dropping all these things? And then I eventually clued in to, okay, I got what we're going for. And the question, the base, it's about a 1 in 20 chance to get a charm, I think, and it will work both during and after the event. So, I mean, anytime you're in an area where you want to use your extra sweet cupcake base, which, you know, maybe you're doing a map and it takes you back to the town in Anya or the mountain or something where you're like, well, an 8 luck base is A-okay here, then you can kind of min-max that a little bit by arming that base and getting extra bonus loot. A question about Year 8 birthday maps. How do you acquire one? It is a Year 5 order. When you ship a Year 5 order, you will get a scroll case. You can only have 2 of them in your inventory at a time. So if you already have 2 scrolls in your inventory and you ship a Year 5, you will not get a scroll, but you can have 2 of them at a time. You can even have 1 open and 2 in your inventory, so technically kind of 3 maps. And that's in the news post as well. Susan wants to know what the joke was about, please. Well, I think the action figure description kind of said that I think it had to do with the Toy Factory. No, it was it was the 5th birthday they came out. And they're supposed to just be really cheap toys that they couldn't sell. So that's what they just have so many of them. They're carrying them around because it's like an author who wrote a book that is absolutely horrible, but he got the publisher to print 5,000 books, and now they're just in his house somewhere or her house somewhere, stacked up to the walls and ceilings because they don't know how to get rid of these books they can't sell. Same thing with the action figures. They made all these thousands of action figures that they thought would be popular, but they're really cheap, flimsy toys. They didn't sell well, so now they just have thousands of them, which is why they would drop 20, 30 at a time. They're just trying to get rid of them any way they can. Question, can you still get cupcakes from mice if all your orders are already filled? Yes, you can. All right, Susan gets the joke now. Glad. It took me a little bit too. I don't think I wrote that particular description. It took me a second too, but then I clued in. And to clarify from the chat, yes, only Year 5 will give you scroll cases. So if you want to do birthday maps, you have to ship a Year 5 to start one, or a friend has to ship one and invite you to their map. And then the mice that appear on the map, the possible mice, are all the ones, as I said earlier, the ones that will appear when you click the question mark on the birthday HUD in the browser. You will see pictures of all the mice for the orders. Those are the mice that can show up on maps. So that's kind of a little subtle way to reference what mice are for what year order while you're doing maps. He had like in the chat some point like bootleg Power Ranger figurines. I do believe that's what we're going for, because they were all themed after knockoff versions of the Power Rangers. A parody, that is to say. Brian has a lot of suggestions in the chat to please make every single reward or every cupcake give you more stuff. We know we do our best, and feedback certainly helps, but we typically try to look, well, how long does it take to complete something, and sort of time is our main thing we use to measure how rewarding should something be, is how much time goes into producing it, as well as sort of resources and expense and stuff like that. So when it takes a long time to do something, you get more stuff. And particularly for events, we look at, well, how long does it take to do a particular action in an event? So let's say for the toboggan event for Christmas, how much nightshade you have a chance of getting when you do one of those double black diamond courses would be related to, well, if you spent that time in the fungal cavern collecting nightshade, how much nightshade would you get? It's around there. Sometimes it's a little bit better to kind of be more fun and generous during the event, but if you spent that time in the event at the fungal cavern, you would get a similar reward. So we use time. And plutonum's the same sort of thing, as the amount of time you would invest at a toxic spill versus the amount of time you spend working on a cupcake shipment order. Also keeping in mind that plutonum is quite valuable as well, so I think already getting any amount of it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited just to see a small amount. Someone asking about the sports-themed event mice. They'll probably come later this year in some subtle way for the summer games. But hindsight, I don't know. It seems like those are few and far between, those event mice, so maybe it wasn't a great idea to make mice devoted to that. Maybe collectibles or something less permanent feeling might have been better, but they're here, so they'll be back. And in the chat, if you're looking for a toxic spill, there are toxic spill eggs for the spring egg hunt. So there will definitely be a toxic spill during the spring egg hunt. Well, we will wrap things up with trivia. So if you've been waiting for your chance to get some green cupcakes from Larry, hopefully somebody in the chat room will get the answer to the trivia question correct. But it's never too difficult of a trivia question, so I have the most faith in hunters. The trivia question today has to do with the birthday event and about obtaining cupcakes, and it is which event mouse or mice can drop the most cupcakes at once? 42, 18, 37, 47, 45, and 8 are all incorrect. Those are not the names of mice. Although 400 could maybe be the name of a mouse with M400. We're close. Cupcake camo is half right. There we go. TW George has the answer correct with the camo and the candle thief mouse. They both can drop up to 5 cupcakes at once. They will rather frequently drop a red, yellow, and a blue cupcake. And the camo has a chance to drop a green as well. And the candle thief has a chance to drop a rainbow as well. So those 2 mice can all drop up to 5 cupcakes at once. Let me check this link out. I think I already checked it out. Larry, does your link work? Yes, it does. It's always a bonus. So there is a link in the chat to claim some cupcakes from Larry, and if you're watching this recorded, in the tavern section of the forums, there will be a summary where you can find Larry's link as well towards the bottom, although you need to claim it within 6 days, I believe, before March 10th. Larry will run out of cupcakes on that day. Everyone's saying they're getting something different, which means the link must be working correctly because everyone's trying to make the same joke at once. A question from the chat, is there a difference between Gouda and Brie for the event other than the attraction rate? I don't believe so. So if you're hunting with Gouda or Brie, you can collect Cupcake Colby potions. I believe Super Brie is a little bit better because it attracts the El Flamenco, I think, and the Para Dancer mouse a little more often, and they drop potions more often. However, the difference between Gouda and Brie is kind of negligible. However, you will fail to attract more with Brie, which means less opportunity to attract mice that drop potions. So technically, Brie is better, or Gouda is better than Brie because the attraction rate is higher. And on that note, I guess we'll wrap up Feedback Friday. So hope everyone's enjoying the birthday so far. We'll post a summary of Feedback Friday on the Tavern section of the forum. If you have any more birthday-related feedback for the feedback question today, please let us know in the thread there. And people are sharing what they've gotten for shipping orders. Any favorite orders so far? Maybe a feedback question to end on. What's been your favorite order to ship so far? I think I'm chugging along. I think I've shipped. How many orders have I shipped? I did a few year ones. I've done 7 orders so far, but I think I did 3 year 1 orders right off the bat. People are like in year 2 for the tournament tokens. I think that might be a popular one. 5 has the maps. Eileen's liking that. Year 6 for the Lucky Loot Bag. That rare chance to get a golden shield is tempting. I think I might do year 6 as well. I have to fill out my Wild Bunch silhouettes, and so Train Loot would definitely be helpful for that. However, those year 6 do need quite a few greens, so they can be a little tricky to complete. But the Law Mice do drop green cupcakes a little more often, so that helps. And a question about Labyrinth theme scraps. Can you get them after you complete the theme? No, you cannot. You can only get the themes to drop 3 theme pieces to drop once, and once you craft the theme, they will no longer drop. So you cannot get the scraps after you've made the theme. Is Rare Map Dust still a reward for year 5 and 6 orders? I believe so. It's a bit more of one of the rare items you can find, but there is a small chance of finding Rare Map Dust because those years celebrated the Relic Hunter and treasure maps in general, which is Rare Map Dust obviously is related to that, as well as Clawshot City, which you could use Rare Map Dust to update your wanted poster that you're working on. So both of those have a small chance of finding Rare Map Dust. And I believe if you sprinkle it, you could potentially get 2 Rare Map Dust from shipping that order because the sprinkles also add a chance. Make sure I'm not spreading misinformation. I'll double check that. But year 6. Yes. When you sprinkle a year 6 order, you will always get either Sheriff Badge Charms or Rare Map Dust every time you sprinkle it. So there is a chance. It's a bit of a small chance, but you could get 2. If you both get it on the non-sprinkle and the sprinkle slot, you'll get 2 Rare Map Dust for shipping 1 thing of cupcakes. Order of cupcakes, that is. And Brian is excited to see Rare Map Dust and a Lucky Loot Bag. Unfortunately, you could never actually get those without sprinkling, because when you do a year 6, you always get either Sheriff Badge Charms, Rare Map Dust, or a Lucky Loot Bag. However, if you did sprinkle it, you could get the Lucky Loot Bag from the non-sprinkle reward, and then you could get the Rare Map Dust from the sprinkle reward. So it's possible, but you could never get 2 Rare Map Dust and the Lucky Loot Bag. All right, another before you go question, just as I was about to say goodbye. What do we got? We have, please consider the Bubbles plushie idea. I'll let Jacob know, and I'll see if he's in the mood to draw a Bubbles plushie that we could work into the game at some point. But you will have your trap to remember it by. And I don't know, well, I guess we probably don't have the trap yet. I don't have the trap, but it looks rather comical. And actually there's a little, never mind. I was going to mention something else about the trap, but we'll leave hunters to discover that little small surprise. Lots of love for the plushies. All right, on that note, we shall wrap up Feedback Friday for March the 4th, 2016. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for joining us in general on this 8-year journey. Has anybody in the chat, have they been playing 8 years? I definitely see some familiar names that I know have been hunting for quite some time, but did they sign up in, what year did we launch? 2009? 2008, sorry. My math is failing. Me. I have a lot of 7s. Dennis is there for 3. Tim, 2008, baby. Huh? Good to see. That's awesome. Well, thank you for playing for so long and being a part of the awesome community and something so fun that we've been at this for 8 years. It seems hard to believe. It just feels like yesterday that we're sitting in a tiny little office and Brian just said, what about a game where you catch mice? And we kind of made it on a whim. And 8 years later, here we are, moved offices a few times, and we're still cranking out mice into the kingdom of Narnia to be caught by exceedingly whimsical and over-the-top traps. There's definitely a lot more magical stuff going on in the traps these days to outdo the traps of the past. A lot of nostalgia coming in the chat. Keep an eye on the Facebook wall as well. We're going to do 1 wall post for every year of MouseHunt, and actually even 9 wall posts, one looking into the future, and it has a little bit of a teaser image for the 9th year coming up as well. So if you haven't already, like our page on Facebook. I believe it's facebook.com/MouseHunt. And coming, I believe next week they'll start. We're going to do wall posts, 1 for every year. They're all scheduled up, ready to launch. So we'll kind of walk through a little bit of nostalgia memory lane. As I was writing those up, I was like, oh yeah. I was going through some nostalgia. So, all right. On that note, I will actually leave now. So thanks for hanging out for the 45 minutes of Feedback Friday. Thanks for playing and hanging out with us and making it possible that this awesome game has been going for 8 years. Happy hunting. Have a good weekend, and good luck. Don't eat too many cupcakes. I know I've been getting hungry for cupcakes by playing the event. But watch out for that sugar crash. Happy hunting.